Hey friends, Dawn here, welcoming you to the Soul Goals podcast and year number 3. This year, we are diving into expanding our perspectives, challenging our belief systems, and working the mental and emotional muscles of our souls. Though still all about growth and connection, this year finds opportunities to hear from people in our communities that have walked a path that might be different from our own, but that ultimately present us with the chance to look at a subject in a different light and learn other ways we could approach challenges in our own world. Let's get to it. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Soul Goals podcast. My name is Dawn. So glad to have my mentor, Joe Loesch, in the studio with me today. Whoa, let's go in the virtual studio. How are you, Joe?
I'm great. How about you, Dawn?
I'm doing so well. And I'm
Is
so
that your kitchen? Are you in your kitchen? That
Yes. You
is
know what?
it's an
Yeah.
amazing looking kitchen.
Well, thank you.
I would like to eat there sometime.
Oh, come on over. Let's have a cup of coffee, or as you're drinking in the South, some nice sweet tea. Is that sweet or
This
unsweet?
is fruit tea.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
neither. It's
It's
fruit.
a Southern thing. Mhm.
It is a Southern thing. I'm not from the South originally, so I'm always learning
too.
about that stuff.
Mhm.
Well, that's true. You're not. So you've adopted a lot of Southern habits, basically, right?
Sure.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. Well,
I've been here
Joe,
long enough to be able to do that.
right. So tell me where you're originally from. Tell the audience where you're originally from.
Born in the St. Louis area, Missouri.
Mhm.
Moved to California when I was 12, so I remember Los Angeles mostly.
Yes, yes. Loved California when I was there. Loved it. I
Mhm.
love going there and visiting. I'm probably not a person that would live there very well, but I love going
Mhm.
there and back for sure.
I was a person that would live there very well back then. I'll
Ah,
leave it at that.
good point. Good
I'm not
point.
going today.
Yeah, you're in the Nashville area right
I
now. We
love
should go back.
Nashville.
Yeah, Nashville's a beautiful place, and I
Mm.
will say, let me just introduce you prophetically and proficiently here, because Joe has a resume that is amazing. And before I get into that, I do want to talk about what we're going to speak of today on the podcast. And basically, I knew that you had served in the military, but I didn't know the extent of it until we started talking a little bit more. And you were speaking to at one of our voiceover events, our networking groups, about a book that you had written. And it is now, as this is airing, this book is live. It's available on Amazon. It's available in narrating form,
Sure.
audible.com. Look at there. We're holding it up.
Mm.
Vietnam Erased, The Experiment by Joe Loesch. And it's a very personal rather book for you that talks a lot about your experience in the Vietnam War and what different impacts it has had. And I'm just going to leave it at that. We'll get into it a little bit more in our talk.
Okay, sure.
But yeah, before we go into that, talking about military service, let's just talk about the 30 plus years you have had in music production, professional voiceover. And you're my mentor. When I got back into voiceover work, it was like, I'm calling Joe. We originally worked together years ago. So you are such a wonderful face for the voiceover world and the creative world, the recording world here in the Nashville area. So I want to say I appreciate that role
Well,
that you
I
held.
appreciate you saying all those nice things about me. That's very kind of you. And you are were an excellent student and an excellent voice talent yourself.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you. Gosh. Well, your resume is nothing to sneeze at. I mean, we're talking, you have been a character on the Disney Channel. You've done national voiceover commercials for Philips Magnavox. You were also an on-screen spokesperson in the 90s for Philips Magnavox,
True.
Folgers Coffee.
Mhm.
And this is an interesting one for me. You have worked through your 30 years with Air Supply, Firefall, the Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, and Loretta Lynn and Garth Brooks. Tell me what you did with Garth Brooks, just because I think it's interesting.
I am the thunder on the Thunder Rolls. Mhm.
The Thunder, you're the Thunder on the Thunder Rolls?
I am. Mhm.
It's
Yeah,
amazing.
those are all my effects. I created those for Garth back in the early 90s. I forget, it had to be around 92, 93, I think.
Yeah,
And I
Joe.
got a Grammy nomination for that. So that was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Like, who wouldn't love that? And then let's talk about Loretta Lynn, shall we?
Well, sure.
You were involved
Well,
with her.
what my pal that I met in Vietnam, he lives here, so I moved here to be closer to him and his family. But also, I had a job lined up through my pal, Woody, and it was an audition to work for Loretta Lynn at Coal Miners Music. And so I met with her and the lady that was running the publishing company at the time, and they liked me and hired me, and I worked for her for a few years.
I love it, Joe. I think our paths may have crossed. Do you know that I sang on a handful of her shows when I was little? I was like 11, 12 years old. Yeah.
Really? Very good.
Yes. Yes. Wonderful person. Loved her
Mhm.
dearly. Heart of gold. Like what you see
She
is what
was
you
as
got.
genuine as you would expect. What you
Absolutely.
see is what you get. If she were
Totally.
here talking with us today, she'd wanna know all about you. Of course, you'd wanna know all about her, but we know a
Right.
lot about her, and
Right.
she's just really interested was really interested in meeting other people and talking to them and getting to know them.
For sure. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head with that one for
Mhm.
sure with her. So how cool is that? You had such a wonderful, robust career. You're still in the middle of it. You're still mentoring people like me and the group that we work with and doing studio stuff with us as well, which is super beneficial. And I know everyone appreciates that so much.
Well,
But I want to go into the conversation about the military with you because I feel like it's something that when we have these big experiences in our lives, I think it shapes who we are as a person. And I know your heart for service for people in general. So it makes total sense to me that you invested in our country and invested in what it was that you did. And give me a little bit of a background about who you were before you enlisted in the military and before you went that path. Who was Joe before you served in Vietnam?
I was, Joe, let's see, when I was a kid, I was a ventriloquist. So when we moved from Missouri to California, soon after that, I traded in the dummy for a guitar, uh, which worked out better for dates. And,
All
I
right.
had, uh I had really gotten interested in music. And so during my high school years, I started a little trio in my out of high school. So Will Seltzer and Pete Strout, Pete was on bass, Will sang, and I played guitar, and we were like the Kingston Trio type of group.
Yeah.
We played at the Ice House in Pasadena, and eventually we got to open for the Smothers Brothers at the Ice House in Pasadena. We
Okay.
played at the Hollywood Bowl on weekends. They would have touring groups that would come in to see the place, and they put us up on above the entrances. People walked in, and we would perform there. Uh, Eventually, my another high school group entered a competition. It was a Hollywood Bowl Battle of the Bands, and it was all of the high schools in Southern California were competing there. We entered the vocal group division. We were called the Happy Rock Folk Society. The
The
name of
Happy
our
Rock Folk Society?
yeah.
Okay.
So the name of our high school was Gladstone
Okay.
High School. So Gladstone Happy Rock.
Okay.
Mm. And we entered that competition, and we took first place in the vocal group division in the Hollywood Bowl, alongside of Richard and Karen Carpenter, who took first place in the jazz combo division. Now, I
Wow.
had met Richard there, and the director was telling us where to hit our marks when we came out on stage and where the cameras were if you wanted to smile at them, wave to your family back home.
Yeah.
Or actually, family was all there in the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh, well,
But
I
they
would
were
be
telling
too.
us they were giving us instructions, and so I hit it off with Richard, and we were just talking back and forth, and, Karen hadn't arrived yet. So eventually, this little girl, 16 years old, she comes walking in, and I said, "Hey, she's cute." I said to Richard, and he said, "Joe, that's my sister." And I said, "Well, she's still cute."
Yeah, right, I'm
And
not
and
blaming.
we had a good laugh over that, and it was nice to meet her too. She was a drummer at that time. That's all she wanted to do. She just wanted to play drums, and she was very shy, you
Yeah.
know, barely looking up at you and to
Yeah.
look you in the eye. So it's amazing what she became.
I mean, the Carpenters, let's
Yeah.
just drop a mic right there because if you are not familiar, as a listener of the podcast today, if you are not familiar with the Carpenters, I want your job for the next week to go on Spotify, iHeart, Apple Music, wherever you want to listen to music, and Google up, bring up the Carpenters, and just listen to a handful of their songs. She was such a brilliant, and sadly she's no longer with us, but she was such a brilliant artist in every aspect of the word. So how cool was that?
Yeah.
First of all, that you won and that you were at the Hollywood Bowl on a regular basis, because that's nothing to sneeze at either. Just saying, from what I know.
I've been very blessed throughout my life to be in the right place at the right time and
Wow.
meeting all these wonderful people.
Yeah.
But you had asked me what I was doing before the Army.
Right.
So that took me up to the draft notice. And so I was attending Citrus College, which is in Azusa, California. And I wasn't carrying enough credits to keep me out of the draft. So I was drafted. But I went down and signed up instead of just going in as a draftee. So I'd have my choice of schooling.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, if music doesn't work out, maybe a career in law enforcement would be good. So I signed up so I could become a military policeman.
Okay.
And I thought, well, that'll keep me out of the bush.
Yeah.
But as it turned out, not so much. I wound up as a gunner on lead jeep for convoys in Nashville, on LZ Baldy out of Chu Lai, Vietnam.
Wow.
But when I got the draft notice, the first thing I thought of was I really should sign up, get my choice of schooling, and set up a career for myself for when I get out.
Right.
Well, I went through basic training at Fort Ord, California. They've shut that place down since then. I had advanced training, military police training, Fort Gordon, Georgia. And then I was assigned at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. And just getting familiar with the law and law enforcement, handling soldiers that would come in drunk from their weekend episodes. And
Yeah.
but I got my orders to go to Vietnam from Fort Leonard Wood. And at that point, I didn't know if I was going to Vietnam or not. Many guys went off to Germany and different places in the world.
Sure.
So I was assigned to Chu Lai, the 195th Military Police Battalion. And then they sent me to LZ Baldy, which was a fire zone. And there I was familiarized with the M60 machine gun, the M79 grenade launcher, the military revolver, 45 caliber. And I qualified expert with all of them.
Okay.
And I had no training on any of them. And
Wow.
I was scratching my head and wondering what, because these are skills that I had not been familiarized with. I had no idea. And so that was the first of my questions about my tour of duty. While I was there for like 3 or 4 months. And Christmas came along, and I put a show together for the guys on my LZ. And the company commander sent me to Saigon to audition for command military touring shows. And they would put GIs together, to put little groups together to go out and entertain troops where it was too dangerous to send USO shows.
Yeah.
But before that happened, I was on several missions as the gunner on lead jeep. And I have no recollection of any of the missions. I remember preparing for the missions, but I don't know where I was sent, what I did, how I got back to base. It's all a complete blank. So that stirred up questions for me about, was it trauma?
Yeah.
Was it and as you go along in your tour of duty, you hear a lot of talk and chatter in the background about secret government experiments on soldiers, such as MK Ultra, mind control, Philadelphia experiment, the Montauk Project, Project Blue Book, Blue Beam, Paperclip, And these were things, some of these were uh, government experiments that I was familiarized with years later. And a
Right.
couple of them were right in front of me. And so I had a lot of questions about that. But when I got my assignment to go to Saigon to audition for command military touring shows, it took me out of LZ Baldy and put me into Saigon.
Mm-hmm.
And there I worked with a couple of other guys that they had assigned to me or us to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And we put a show together and we went out and entertained for a few months. We were on the Ticonderoga, the Repose, a couple of other ships out in the Tonkin Bay, entertaining troops, and everywhere from the Da Nang to the Mekong Delta uh, to the shore, to the inlands, Cambodia
Mm-hmm.
border. And I remember all of those tours. But one of them took us up to Da Nang. Da Nang was above Chu Lai, Vietnam. And when I was in Da Nang, I ran into a guy who I had military police training with, and he showed us around the hospital up there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I was close enough to LZ Baldy that I could hop a Huey, which is a military helicopter,
Yes.
hop a Huey to LZ Baldy because I wanted to see my best friend on the base there, and his name was Frenchie. Now, Frenchie and I, we had cleaned weapons together. We ate together. We were in the same tent.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about the girls back home, and we just had really good, intimate relationship as far as military brothers go.
Yeah.
And I felt like he was a pal. And
Yeah.
so I went to see Frenchie, and when I found him and said hello to him, he didn't know who I was.
Joe.
I mean, it was like erased from his mind. He was still there. He was still eating the food they were feeding us, taking the inoculations, taking, here, take this. This is for malaria. This is for this, and this is for that. But, you know, what was it really? Because
Yeah.
I'm starting to think that this is very strange. And he wanted to know who I was and how I had all these pictures of us. How
Oh my
did you
gosh.
manipulate all these pictures? I don't know you. And it was just a complete shock to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, I headed back down to Saigon with my band, and then we went down to the Mekong Delta, and we toured for 3 months. So at the end of the 3 months, I was supposed to go back to my station in LZ Baldy. It was just a
Mm-hmm.
3 month reprieve.
Yeah.
So I was headed back to LZ Baldy to Chu Lai,
Mm-hmm.
and all of a sudden the chopper, I think it was a chopper we were on, might have been a Chinook, and they turned around and started heading back to Saigon because you can tell we're going the wrong way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So one of the crew members came up to me and said, "Are you Specialist Loesch?" I was a Spec 4 at the time.
Mm-hmm.
That was equivalent to let's see, a sergeant. Mhm.
Okay.
And so he said, "Yeah, we're going back because they want you back in Saigon." So I had no idea what this was about. But when
Right.
I got there, uh, see, my friend Woody and another guy, Brad Arrington, who ran the command military touring shows, they had requested me to stay in Saigon and be a director and put bands together to send them out on shows.
Yeah.
And so when I got there, Woody was there and he said, "Hey, guess what?" I I asked, I said, "Well, why did you send me on a ship going back to Chu Lai?" He said, "Because the orders didn't come through. We didn't get approval. We got
Okay.
approval at the last minute." And they said, "Hey, get him back here." And
Okay.
so I don't want to give too much away. There's a lot of things in the book, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of different moments where uh, memory lapses. There's memory
Mm-hmm.
lapses where I
Mm-hmm.
just have no idea what happened at that time. And throughout our tour with entertaining troops, there were some strange things that happened there too, and those are in the book as well.
Yeah. I think it's really it's a really interesting perspective that you're bringing because it's when you say there's pieces like erased and missing. I mean, as a human being, we question and with the things that we know psychologically about what we do with trauma, how we house it, how we react to it, how it can come out sideways later on in our lives, things that have been done earlier. But for you to go, there's no recollection of
Mhm,
anything. It's like a blank, like it's a piece that's just been pulled out
mhm.
is so intriguingly u upsetting, yet, what just mind-blowing
Yeah.
for me, you
Mhm,
know?
mhm.
And I feel like how old were you when all this was going on? Let's just put that one
I
in
was
perspective.
I was 20.
Yeah,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
That's amazingly crazy to me because my youngest daughter will be 20 early
Mhm.
next year,
Yeah.
and the things I guess as soldiers in general, when they are devoting their service to our country and they're doing so at a very young age, I think
Well,
that
there's a reason for that. If
right.
they get you at a very young age, you haven't had enough life experience. You haven't, developed a lot of bad habits, and
Mhm.
they can, order you. You can be trained to take orders,
Right.
much
Makes total
easier than
sense.
someone who later in life is already they've already set their path.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think about everything that you said, and I mean, like, first of all, none of this is what you expected. None of
Mm,
it would be what you expected. I mean, when you initially were drafted and you said, "Okay, I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna sign up so that I can get my druthers of where it is that I wanna go," like,
mhm,
you're doing your best laid plans for the circumstances that were there in front of you.
yeah.
Like, talk to me about what like, when you felt when you were in a place where it didn't happen like that, what went through your body? What went through your brain? Were you like, "I don't
Well,
wanna do this anymore," or I like,
no,
"What's
I think
happening?"
at the time, when you're so young, young people think that, "Well, this has never happened to me,"
Mm.
"Nothing's gonna happen to me." "Well, I'm not gonna get shot," you know? "I'm not gonna be in an accident," but when you're that young, you think nothing can happen to you,
Yeah.
but you're wrong.
Right.
There's no guarantees.
Right. What is so in writing the book, I'm interested to know, was this an emotionally hard thing for you to bring out, or were you ready to kind of birth this?
No, I was ready. I was ready. I've been plagued with, questions and answers, questions too, looking for those answers for years.
Yeah.
But, I'm very happily married. I've got
Mhm.
the best wife in the world. She just she's been the healing for me, my healing my life, you know?
Yeah.
So, I was just ready to face it and ask questions and see what I could come up with and did some research, and,
Mm.
that's what spurred me a couple of years ago to start writing the book. I've had ideas, I've written down ideas, but then I really went after it actively.
Yeah, and when you started it actively, did it just flow from you? Did it feel like that was also a part of your healing, just like your beautiful wife, Lori? Do you feel
Yeah.
like the writing of it was something that
Mhm,
just made you go, "Okay, I understand the bigger picture now. I may not have the pieces, but I know what it means for me."
mhm. Yeah. Um, I think the chapters were the hardest, "What's
Mhm.
the next step here? What's the next step? The next step? What is this called?" When I
Mm,
got back from Vietnam, I still had a year to go in the Army, so I finished up at Fort Hood, Texas, and there were some incidents there that brought back a lot of those flashbacks or
mhm.
lack of, memory of the moments in
Yeah.
those times, and some strange things that happened to me and my band that I set up at Fort Hood, and so
Mm.
each of those guys had traumatic experiences too, but a lot of them were so in sync with each other that it really caused us to ask each other the same questions. Mhm.
Yeah. So then you're relying on each other for
Mhm,
that valuable feedback and that input to help
mhm.
kind of
Yeah, just
fill in the
to
pieces.
verify to each of us individually that we weren't crazy. The other
Right.
people were experiencing this too. Lost moments of time, complete blanks. Mhm. Yeah,
I
very
mean,
strange.
as you're speaking about it, that's a really great piece because I feel like it could drive you bananas, right?
Yes,
You could feel
it
like you
could.
have did you feel like that at different points? Did
At
you have
different
those
points,
thoughts?
yeah. Mhm.
When did you finally get to a point was it connecting with the group in that way that you went, "All right, fundamentally, I feel solid in my in what I'm experiencing or what I have experienced, and I'm not crazy. I'm not losing my
I
mind."
don't think I had reached, uh, a part where I was getting answers. I think we were, as a group, these guys that are also in the book, we were called the Country Demolition Team, and,
Okay.
we would play on weekends after tour duty during the week, so we get weekend leaves, and we could go out and play at, gosh, where were we? Baylor University. I remember we played there once, and different pizza places and wherever we
Yeah.
could go. Uh, I just got off on that for some reason. I'm sorry. Maybe I went the wrong direction.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay.
It's your
All right.
story. It's I think it's relative to say these are the different pieces that have
Mhm,
made you you along the way.
mhm.
I am interested though, if you could look at it from kind of a bird's eye view in your life since leaving Vietnam, since leaving the
Okay.
army,
Yeah.
how you feel it has affected you in your life, in your world, in your day-to-day existence. Have there been things that have tripped you up, that have kind of gotten, cumbersome in your life or different situations that have happened to you based on the fact that this has happened? If that makes any sense?
I think that, as time time it's true that, time heals all wounds,
Yeah,
if you let it,
yeah.
and there
Mm,
are people that won't allow time to do that,
mm,
but I don't think that that's my case. I this happened, yeah, these strange occurrences happened. I've
mhm,
got a pretty good idea why,
mhm.
and, there's nothing I can do about it. It's sort of
Yeah,
like at that last thing, what am I gonna do? I'm at this
yeah,
age now, I'm not going back to 20 and redoing things over again. "Oh, I would have done that differently."
yeah,
Well, we can
yeah.
all say that. We've made mistakes throughout life.
I mean,
And
totally,
not
yeah,
that that was a mistake, I was proud to serve my country.
mhm, yeah,
I wasn't particularly happy with the administration at that time, but
mhm.
what are you gonna do?
Yeah, well, it goes back to that, it's like, what is within your control,
Mhm.
you know? And I love what you said, if you can move through it if you let it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If you let it.
Mhm.
I think that's where a lot of people, myself included, we get hung up on things that we
Mhm.
just don't allow to
Yeah.
just roll with. And give ourselves the like the pat on the back that we can do it. Like we can handle it. And if we can't handle it, we can handle reaching out to
Mhm.
someone for help with it. And there
Mhm.
is accessibility now more than ever. If you think
Yeah.
my father-in-law was a World War II veteran
Mhm.
and they didn't have any kind of um coming back from your service in Germany, the things that he did, there was no unpacking that with any kind of therapist or with any kind of crew of any sort before they released you back out into the civilian life. It was
Yeah.
just shipping you back on a ship, and here you are, and you have
Mhm.
these experiences that you are now holding on to, very deep things and that I look at that and I think there's so many different directions you can go with that as a person as you age. It can affect you, like you said, if you let it,
Mhm.
but also if it does affect you, what can you do to effectively move through that to get yourself free of those feelings that are binding you and keeping you from living a full life?
My dad, served in World War II. He was a Marine. He was on Iwo Jima, and,
Mm,
he never talked about the service, never talked about his experience. It was
yeah.
just too traumatic because he did remember.
Mhm.
Um, even when I was going through this stuff, and I was on the road, with the New Generation, that was the, band that we put together out of Saigon to entertain troops. Um, so during that tour, there were moments where this person would show up, and I'd never seen him before. He said, "Stop asking questions." And
Wow, Joe.
and you'll see in the book about that, and it wasn't just one time. And then also, uh, during my time at Fort Hood, that happened also
Mhm.
because the whole band was asking questions. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mm.
Wow, Joe. I
So
mean,
there are things to back up, if people will take a look at the book, and when I talk about the Montauk Project or about the Philadelphia
mhm.
experiment, and all I ask is that you go and research those things, because a lot of
Yes.
people will say, "Well, here's conspiracist," right? Now,
Mhm.
if you look up each one of those projects that I mentioned, you'll see that they were actual projects,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
it's
so
documented.
yeah,
Yes.
documented. Mhm.
Mhm. Absolutely.
And
What do
so
you
people
think?
can't deny it if they do the
Right.
research. It's real easy to deny things when you don't know anything about it and you just speak your mind because
Mhm.
what gives you the authority to speak your mind if you haven't done any research?
I just got chills when you said that. You're
Mm,
not wrong. It's that's a very fundamental thing. I think that we miss our human ego and our emotions get really they take the driver's seat instead of our rational a rational space where that's considered,
mhm,
where the researching those situations and researching those activities that we want to know more about. We owe it to ourselves to learn about our history and to know about our country and to know about where things came from, and to do that from a place of just understanding, just really diving in without leading with that emotional component and
mhm,
doing that work. And I want to ask you too, what do you believe? Because if we're talking about the World War II generation that never spoke, right? Because my father-in-law till the day, like in the last couple of years of his life, he started speaking very vaguely about some different experiences, but he had horrible, horrible nightmares. So he was reliving all of that. And my mother in law would talk about that. And she was
mhm,
very expressive about the things that continued right up until a week before he passed away within his sleep.
yeah,
So if you think about that generation not letting that out, what do you think the benefit of you sharing your story right now is? Like, do you think that it's, helpful for
mhm,
others to know? Do you think it's helpful for you? Is maybe it's a combination of everything?
mhm. I think it's very helpful for others to know.
Mhm.
Um, one a couple of the big differences between World War II, the Korean War, and the Vietnam War, uh, when we returned from Vietnam, uh, we were pretty much spat upon.
Yeah.
We were ridiculed for having gone. But what choice did we have? If you got your
Yeah.
draft notice, I mean, all my buddies were drafted there. They didn't have a choice, but yet there was no honor, there was no, respect when you
Mhm.
returned. There
Mhm.
was for Korean veterans, there was for World War II,
Mhm.
but now over the years, that has tended to heal itself.
Yeah.
So that's another wound from that war that has healed itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there are all kinds of wounds that are healing,
Mhm.
and some of them may not be physical injuries. They
Mhm.
might be mental.
Completely.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Uh,
Completely.
and I had one fellow who's read my book, and, he attends one of my networking groups, not the voiceover networking, but, another networking group,
Mhm.
and he's also a veteran, and he was in Afghanistan, and, he's seen a lot of terrible things,
Mhm.
and a couple of his buddies were injured. And so he avoided signing up for VA benefits because he didn't think he was entitled to them because he hadn't been shot.
Wow,
And I said,
Joe.
"Listen, you put yourself in that arena. You volunteered for that. They volunteered for that.
Mhm.
Somebody got a bullet and you didn't. That
Mhm.
doesn't mean that you didn't risk your life. You didn't give 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years of your life to the military, and
Mhm.
you expect nothing back."
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so since I talked to him and he read my book, he has applied for benefits, and I was so proud of him, and he said, "Thank you for talking to me because I had no idea. Don't
Yeah.
ever think that you're not entitled to that
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
gave, just as they did.
Yeah. That's beautiful. I'm glad you said that. And also on that same realm, it's talking about that brotherhood that you have, even
Mhm,
with those that have served in different eras than you. Like he was
mm,
in Afghanistan and you were in Vietnam.
mm.
There's this thread of
Yeah,
camaraderie.
that's
And
right.
talk to me a little bit about that and how important that is to you in your life now that you're out of the army. When you were no longer serving our country, how did those relationships, how have they woven in your life? What have they meant in your life and that camaraderie, that brotherhood along the way?
Um, well, one last thing about this fella.
Mhm.
At our last networking group, he got up and told the group that thanks to Joe and his book and talking to me that I've now applied for benefits. And so I just got up and we just hugged each other. That's another thing about today. Uh, Guys that have that kind of tie are not afraid to hug each other. But out of
Mhm.
World War II, Korean, it was very fathers and sons would shake hands, you know.
Yeah.
If my dad were here today, I would just hug the heck out of him.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
glad to see that change.
It's shifting. Yeah, absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. I would consider the gentleman you're speaking of to be your brother,
Yeah,
to be,
absolutely, and
you know,
that's the way we feel about each other even without saying it.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And that support along the way. I mean, you're still in contact with the people that you served with they're your ties, right?
Yes, absolutely. Mhm. I'm
Mm.
still playing in a band with Woody today.
Wait, he's in your band?
Yeah.
Oh, Joe, that's amazing.
Mhm. Yeah, he's the lead guitar player. Mm.
Oh, I love that. See those
All
ties
these
though,
years.
and you met in the military. That's where you met.
Mhm. Yeah.
So those common threads, it's such a wild thing to look at someone's life and see how all of that weaves through our lives. I think when we look at our life as a 20-year-old, and like you said earlier, it's never going to happen to me. I'm never going to have an accident. It's that invincible
Mhm.
character and that mentality that I think we probably have to get us to step off of the ledge sometimes to experience different things,
Yeah.
right? But then as we age, it's like that can shut down depending upon our circumstances and our situations we walk through. If you let it, I'm going to use the Joe Loesch,
Uh-huh.
if you let it, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
But in all of that, I just think that common thread that ties you together so beautifully. I mean, and you guys are in a different generation than the generation now that is serving. Or let's take it another step, generation now that is not serving, that may not understand the depth and the breadth of the military service as a whole. And
Mhm.
if we look back to the fact that you were drafted, it
Mhm.
wasn't an automatic, yes, I'm doing this, but your dad was a military,
Mhm.
so you come from a lineage of that. And like I said
Yeah.
earlier, your service, your heart for service is such an integral piece to everything that you do. And I
Mhm.
really believe that that's why you've been so successful. It's that giving, that wonderful loving mentality that you're giving from. I mean, let's talk a little bit about what this generation may be not understanding about service.
The military gives you, they give you some good things, such
Mhm.
as, you learn about respect, you learn about accomplishment, and so there were so many things throughout the military that helped me to apply many of those, good habits to my business, and
Yeah.
so I like to run my business. I like to look at it in military terms. Step
Okay.
by step. You do this, you need first thing you do when you wake up in the morning is make your bed. You
Yes.
realize why they had soldiers make their beds? Because the first thing,
Tell
as
us.
soon as they make their bed and they get everything looking great, you know, they've accomplished something. You've
Mhm.
just woken up, you haven't had breakfast yet, and you've already accomplished something. So that's the method behind it. So
Mhm.
accomplishment in life is taking care of business as it comes.
Mhm.
And so those tools are very important for a young person if they're considering going into the military. It's because they haven't lived enough life yet to know what the world is like.
Yeah.
but you can see the world too through the military,
Yes.
and you can learn
Yes.
some valuable habits that are going to help you through life
Mm.
and keep your
Yeah.
life together. Mhm.
Yeah. And so
And you will
it's a
meet people
structure.
that yeah, have lifelong friendships too, that
Mhm.
brotherhood. Mhm,
Yeah, the camaraderie, it's a big piece. I
mhm,
think you speak so wonderfully about that. Okay, making your bed. I always tell my girls, make your bed. First thing you do in the morning, make your bed. And do you
mhm,
know that when my oldest went to college, I was like, oh, she is never making her bed. Like she fought me tooth, tongue, and toenail about making her bed when she was here in high school.
mhm,
Some mornings she would, some mornings she wouldn't. Okay,
yeah.
whatever. You fight your battles. And do you know that she let me know at the end of her college career, she's like, I made my bed every morning. I made my bed every
How
morning.
about that? Yeah.
Yeah,
You're
and
a
I'm like,
good drill
"Okay."
instructor.
Oh, don't I don't know about that. I don't know about that, but I feel like the benefit of that you're so right, and there's a book called Make Your Bed by, and I'm gonna totally flub the authors. He was a military veteran that wrote the book. It's a very easy, quick read, and I actually gave it to a friend of mine that was going to boot camp about 5 years ago. I put it in his locker at the CrossFit gym. I was like, here, like I want you to have this because it's meaningful. And the accomplishment and what that, the structure that the military can present. What do you think might be some fundamental misunderstandings that people may have about the military and service? So, as much as it's like a benefit and these are the good things about it, what do you think some people may look at it as not the cons of the military or
Well,
versus the
when you say
pros?
some people, do you mean some people that are considering the military?
It could
Or
be either, people in general, because I think we are in
well,
such a
it's
society
it's not
now.
for everyone.
Right, you have to know yourself, for
Yeah.
sure.
Mhm,
But in general, people that look at the military because I look at it with a sense of reverence. I know it's not for me. I would not do a great job serving. I know that about myself. I serve in
mhm,
a different capacity. But I also hold a very strong reverence for it because I know the sacrifices based on my father-in-law's experience and what I
mhm,
saw him doing and what I heard what he went through and
mhm.
other people in our family in that lineage. But if for people that don't have that in their background, that don't
Sure.
understand what service is, you know, is it enough to
Mhm.
say it's good, these are the benefits of it because it provides structure and it does all these things?
Well, that
Or
has to do with, research too. Look into it, see what service is. It's not that hard to find out. There's information everywhere. We have the internet today. We didn't have that when I was a kid,
same.
and, you can discover so much about yourself just by
Mhm.
doing some research.
Yeah.
Now, I would also say that, some young people that are considering the military, it might be because, for an education. Because
Right,
you're going to
right.
get an education. You're gonna get, uh one of the things that's missing in today's, public schools and, colleges is people skills, because 'cause they'll
Yeah.
come out learning a skill, but they can't communicate with other people effectively. Uh,
Mm,
and many of them, come out of high school and they can't count change at Starbucks.
yeah.
Um, it's a good thing that the register tells them, "You owe this person this much money," because they
Yes,
can't figure it
correct,
up in their heads. But I
correct.
think that, military for is gonna give you an opportunity to learn how to think,
Mm,
and even though they're doing the thinking for you at that time, but they're giving you the skills to learn to think for yourself, and they're also putting you through military training that's going to also help in the educational values that you're learning while in the military, and it's gonna provide you with additional training when you get out of the military because now you'll have the funds to finance it. So maybe you
yes,
don't have the funds to just go off to school, but the military can provide that for you.
yeah,
Mhm.
beautiful. Yeah, you were just a walking billboard for joining the military right there. Yeah, there's a
Well, I'm not
there's a
trying
lot
to
of things.
recruit anybody, but,
No, no, no,
yeah.
no, but it's your experience and it's fundamental. It creates it's a really wonderful foundation for creating different aspects of you as a human
Mm,
that are really good attributes that are sometimes missed along the way. I love what you said about, creating that social skill, creating that people skill,
mhm,
and the understanding about all of that. I think we do miss that a good
mhm.
bit. I really do. What are some of the lessons that you have learned about yourself through this experience, through through telling your story, through emotionally kind of going back there and unpacking it as you were writing the book and as you were narrating the audio version of it as well? What if you could look back, what are some of those things that you go, "Okay, this has made me who I am because blank."
I think, one of the things that pushed me forward with writing the book was, being told not to, you know,
Oh, wow.
or being suggested to that you, shut up. Don't talk
Mm,
about this, don't ask questions. But the thing is today, see, if this had come out 30 years ago, I'd probably been in big trouble
yeah.
because they don't want people talking about, the Montauk Project,
Mhm.
MK Ultra. But see, I think it's a more widely known. I think people have heard something about it. Well, I've heard
Yeah.
about that, maybe I could look into that. But 30 years ago, what's that? Mm,
Right.
mm.
Right. Yeah.
And so I think we've come to an age, and also I wanted to get this, in writing, for my son and for my grandkids,
Mhm.
so they'd
Mhm.
know something about what I had no idea what my dad did during the war, except that he was a lineman,
Mhm.
uh, on Iwo Jima, and that I knew that, a lot of his buddies were killed around him, and, there was a mental breakdown I remember that he had, one year, when I was a little kid, and it had to do with that. But that's all I know. Mm. And so today, uh, I just wanted my son to know where I've been, what I was up to, and
Yeah.
what my thoughts were.
Yeah.
I think
I
that's what
think
pushed me.
yeah, that's wonderful. I think that's information that your ancestors and your lineage wants to know. I think that's an effort for us to be closer as humans and as family members to really understand the pieces that made my dad, if we're talking about your son. I
Mhm.
think that's beautiful. I love that you're doing that
Mm.
for him, and it sounds like you're doing it for yourself as just as
Yeah,
much,
yeah.
and
Mhm,
that's a really integral
mhm.
piece as well.
And my wife indicated to me too that she said, "I didn't know that. I didn't know that about you."
Wow.
Mhm.
Wow.
So,
Do you think that it was stuff that you just dismissed
yeah.
until you kinda started unpacking it?
Yeah, in some things, yeah, just missed, and also as I began to write and coming up with different chapters, it's brought back a little bit of memory about certain things, but nothing that was incredibly important, like, was I involved in firefights, you know? I don't know.
And
I
you
I think I
were a
think I
gunman.
was, but I
Yeah,
don't know. And
but
there's
you
no
have
records. The records are missing too. So you go to apply at the VA and say, "Well, I knew that I got blown off of a Jeep and landed on my back," and I said, "That's probably what happened with my back injuries," and they said, "Well, there's no records of that."
okay,
Mhm.
wait, what? There's no
So,
records
no,
of that
there's a
time
lot
at
of
all?
missing records. Mhm. And I've had
Oh.
other guys tell me the same thing about their experience.
How hard is it for you not to be filled with animosity and anger over that?
Eh, just let it go. Yeah,
Mhm.
I could because you could let it eat you up,
Mhm.
but I'm having too much fun. I get to play with my band, I go places with my wife, I get to see my son and my granddaughters, and, you know, life is good, yeah.
Mm.
I wanna go out smiling.
Well, and I think telling your story and living your truth and life in general is healing you. I think that
Mhm.
attitude of gratitude, I think that's what you lead with. If I look at you, I could see this banner over your head. Joe
Aw.
is like your gratitude. And
Aw.
I think there's a big piece to that that helps with healing and moving through those pieces that are missing, those pieces that we experience
Mm,
as trauma along the way. Just amazing. Joe, what a really deep, integral, foundational story of your life. Thank you so much for sharing that
mhm,
piece because no, it's not widely talked about. All of
mhm,
the projects that you were speaking of, it is not a common conversation that people are having when you think military or when you bring up military. Like if we look at the history of where things were and what people experienced, I think it's really, really strong of you. And I think it's really integral of you to be bringing this forward for other people to hear and for other people to understand your point of view from your perspective. I was there and this is what happened. And
Mhm.
giving us that's information. That's great.
Well, it's very kind of you to have me on your show. I appreciate that, and I appreciate all your kind words. And um, I'm looking forward to hearing more back from people that have read my book and see where they are, and if they have questions about their military life, or they can come and talk with me. I make time to smell the roses, so I'm working as much as I want, and I'm also finding time to just have time for friends and family.
Yeah. Yeah, and you were not whistling Dixie there. You mean that. You walk your walk, Joe. You
Oh,
really do. I love that about you. And
thank you,
if a
Don.
veteran, yeah, absolutely. If a veteran is hearing this today, or a family member of a veteran that may be struggling or that may know a piece of something, I mean, reach out to Joe because he is the person that will sit with you and have a cup of coffee and listen. So thank you for that. Thank you for being present and
Certainly.
for
Mhm,
sharing yourself in such a vulnerable way through this book.
mhm.
Vietnam Erased, the experience or the
Yeah.
experiment, sorry.
Mhm.
And available on Audible. There it is. Again, available on Amazon.com in the
Oh,
hard copy
that's
prints.
me on the cover right there
That
with the
picture, yeah.
M60. Mhm.
Where did that picture come from?
It was taken on LZ Baldy.
And do you remember that?
No, but it's like so many photographs I see myself in, but I'm looking at, like, it's me, but I'm, like, out of body experience.
Joe, wow.
Mhm,
Man. Well, I would encourage anyone that has had these experiences along the way to please reach out to grab a copy of that book to find that validation
mhm,
within yourself so you know that you're not alone,
mhm.
because I think it's an invaluable piece for you to share those experiences with other people. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's available on Amazon, on
Mhm.
Kindle, and also, I have printed books here, so I wanted to have some because 'cause I'm doing a book signing at the Raven Book Lounge July 3rd.
Okay, July 3rd. Here we
Mhm,
go.
and,
Raven Book Lounge, and that's
yes,
in the Brentwood, Tennessee
Brentwood.
area,
It's a
correct?
brand new
Yes.
bookstore. It's where the, City Cafe used to be. I
Okay.
told the lady that owns the store, I said, "The last time I was here, I had a meat and 3.
So it was at a
Now
coffee shop.
now I have a book and a
Amazing.
glass of wine."
I love that. Oh,
Mhm.
July 3rd. Okay, perfect, perfect.
Yeah,
So you
from
have
7 to
copies
9
available.
PM.
Okay.
It's available on Amazon, on Kindle, and also on Audible as a
Mhm.
audiobook.
Yeah, I love it. Ah, Joe, I thank you so much for sharing yourself so genuinely and so
My
vulnerably. I
pleasure.
appreciate your story. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
I wish you nothing but continued success. This book is a huge success for you. And it stands to say, I appreciate you as a person. You
Uh,
are such a bright light for so many of us. And I know I speak for everybody. We are incredibly thankful for you and all you do and your servant heart for everything that you do for
Thank you,
everybody.
Don. You're a great host.
Oh, well, thank you.
Now let's
Thank
have
you, Joe.
breakfast in that beautiful kitchen.
Let's go. Let's go. So have a great rest of your day, okay?
Thanks, Don.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.